Hi everyone, it's Mrs. Martinez with Martinez Art Lab. Today we are going to make a blended photograph using two photographs in Adobe Photoshop 2020. So the first thing we're going to do is open Adobe Photoshop. On the left hand side we will click open. We are going to choose the photograph that is going to be our background photograph. So I'm going to navigate to the right place here. And our background photograph is right here. I will double click on it and it has brought our background photograph in. The very first thing I'm going to do is unlock that background layer, double click on that title and rename it background and click over. Now I'm going to do the same exact thing and go to File, Place Embedded, bring my second photograph in. I will double click on it to bring that photograph in, and then I will double click on the title and put rainbow peace sign. And then I will left click on that layer and click rasterize layer. That allows me to edit that layer. Now that I've got my two layers, I'm going to be doing a couple reminders. The eye icon, when you click it, it will hide, excuse me, it will hide your layer. When you bring the eye back, it brings your layer back up in person. So, and whenever you edit a layer, make sure that you've selected it. All you need to do is click right on the layer to make sure you're deleting things on the right layer. So I'm going to do my peace sign right now, and I'm going to use my magnetic lasso tool. If you don't see that, you can click the arrow to the right and choose magnetic lasso. And I'm going to go right around my peace sign. I made a mistake already, so I just double click to end that, and I'm going to go to Edit, Undo Magnetic Lasso. Now I'm going to make clicks. The more clicks I make, the more accurate this will be. So I'm going pretty fast. It's not going to be totally accurate, but I want to make sure that you guys are able to get started on your work. My first click and my last click need to end in the same spot. I've selected the peace sign, but I don't want to delete the peace sign. I want to delete the background. So now I'm going to go to select and inverse. That selects everything but the peace sign. I would click delete on my keyboard, or I would be clicking backspace if I am not on a Mac. Now I'm going to go to select and deselect, and I've made my peace sign the way I want it to. I can see a couple of the edges are a little rough. So I will just take my eraser and just kind of smooth out that edge, take away that brown. Do that just a little bit. Again, it doesn't need to be perfect for this tutorial. So I took away a couple of those little rough edges with my eraser. If you need it to be perfect, you're going to click down here, make this as large of a number as you can and still see your picture, and then delete when your picture is enlarged. So that way when it's small and the normal size, you won't be able to see any tiny little minute mistakes you made. So I've got my peace sign. I know I'm going to need it smaller eventually, but for now I'm going to leave as is. I'm going to hide that layer, and then I'm going to come to my background layer. Now, I want to bring the peace sign into the bust of this woman sculpture. So what I'm going to do is bring my peace sign back up. I'm going to scale this peace sign down now, and I'm going to go to Edit, Transform, and Scale. I'm going to go I'm on the wrong layer, so I'm glad I checked myself on that. I'm going to select the right layer, then I'm going to go to Edit, Transform, and Scale. Now that I'm on that, I'm going to go to the one of the corners, the left click and drag to make that small enough to fit in her head. Just I kind of want it right there. And then I'm going to just play with the opacity on this. I'm making a really simple image here with the idea of, peace being in her head. Or in her thoughts, rather. So I'm just going to change the opacity on this rainbow peace sign. The opacity can be found right here. I'm going to click that. It's 100%. I'm going to change it to 70 and see what that looks like. So that's changed that a little bit more. Let's try 60. maybe even a little less. Let's take it to 50. We're going a little bit at a time here to see what we like. Okay, let's try less and see if we like that. I don't. So let's bring it back up to 40. Maybe a little bit darker. We'll keep it at 50. And then what I want to do is just kind of blend it in a little bit more. Right now it's like just like there, and like it's really, it looks like I just stuck a sticker on her head, right? So I'm going to blend that a little bit more by going in and smoothing out some of the edges. So if I go to this tool right here, there's a blur, a sharpen, and a smudge tool. And then right below there's a dodge, burn, and sponge tool. So I'm actually going to go to my dodge tool and make it smaller by using the brackets on my keyboard. So the left bracket makes it smaller, the right bracket makes it larger. So I'm going to go to the right bracket and I'm going to go right along the edges of this peace sign and just kind of blend it a little. That just lightened it up around the edges. It made it blend a little bit better. And now I'm going to go to my blur tool. It's huge, so I'm going to use my left bracket to bring it smaller. I'm just going to kind of blur the edges so it's not as sharp, and you can see the difference, okay? And then I'm going to use my move tool, and I'm just kind of playing around because, again, I want this to look like it's part of her and not necessarily like a sticker paste on. So, or pasted on. So I'm going to go ahead and play around with the opacity and with the blending. Okay, so it's looking a lot better, but still not exactly where I like it. So I'm going to go back and use my smudge tool, left bracket to make it smaller. Now my smudge tool is really going to smudge. So I want to make sure that I'm really careful. You could see that one, okay? I just want to kind of carry the color throughout her head. So I'm going to smudge it kind of a lot because I want to keep that, I want to keep the peace sign, but I also want it to look like it's continuous throughout her, okay? So there we have it. I think that this is great for the tutorial. We're going to stop there. It doesn't look like a sticker is stuck on her head anymore, but I can see kind of that knowledge of having peace in her thoughts as she's planting and doing things around the house. And this is the image that I'm going to leave as my blended image. Have fun creating yours.